Welcome in everyone to Tour Life. How's everyone doing tonight? So, real quick before you're like, where are they at? Brody's finishing up something. He'll be here very, very shortly. And Yuli has some stuff going on. I don't think he's gonna be able to join us tonight. He may be able to jump in. We're not sure yet. But yeah, Brody will be here in about. That's right, Gary Life tonight, baby. But Brody will be here in like 10, 15 minutes. No worries. So we're here to have some fun. Gary, how was your week this week? Oh, Gary, it was actually pretty solid. So good update there. But guys, I wanted to take a moment to come in here and give you a chance to chat it up. I'm out of the basement for now. As you can see, the room is almost empty. I'm trying to move out of this place. If you know anyone who wants to buy a house in Lancaster, PA, you send them my way. But hey, while we're here, this is a good opportunity for you guys. If you have any questions or stuff you want to talk about, let me know. And we could chat about it. But how was everyone's day today? There's sunlight, a thumber tutorial. That'd be nice. There are no discs in the room. Wait, I lied to you. There might be a buzz down here. Look at that. There's a buzz down here. But yeah, President's Cup was today. That was very interesting. Did anyone take time out of their workday to watch the President's Cup and see United States take on Europe in a very interesting matchup? Yeah, there's sunlight outside. Yuli and Brody to update their YouTube passport. I finally have my windows open. I love that. Yeah, it's just been a little humid out here recently, so having the windows open is kind of difficult. But yes, if you're just tuning in, Brody is going to be here very, very shortly. He has told me that tonight we're going to reignite the discussion about what is and is not the proper miss. So there we go. Do you think that Brody will review my homemade trophy? I guarantee if you ask that question, Brody's going to go, I'm retired. I still never found that video you said you were doing an MD with Disc MD or whatever his name was. Yeah, you got to look up his YouTube channel. It's there. But no free advertisements. We're not shouting that out right now. I watched. Very optimistic about the changes to the course. Looks like they toughen things up. Yeah, for sure. I think we'll talk a little bit about it tonight. Brody wants to get into the course itself. It looks like the changes they made definitely have added the distance combined with like the low ceiling that they have there and the narrow tunnels and fairways to, I think, make shots and holes a little bit more difficult. And I still think it's going to end up being more of a birdie fest than everyone says so. And I think there's a general feel that people want to be super optimistic about the course, but it's still going to score real low. But I'm okay with that. If we're seeing scores of like 7 and 8 and 9 down, being the hot round, I like that. I like that a lot. And I think there's room for courses like that. Yeah, for sure. FPO seemed to struggle. They definitely did. I think did Holland Handley have the best performance, I think, of anyone in any of this, like the singles format, or not singles format, but if you look at the format in round 3, I think Holland Handley had the best at 2 down during that time frame. Yeah, if you're on, it's going to be great. But if you're off, it's going to be a serious problem, which I think is going to be something that is great to see players have. Is you take the best of both worlds of the birdie fest that was the this particular track from last year and add in a little bit more difficulty. So now there's a big delineation between whether you're shooting really well or you're shooting really poorly. Look, Ezra AB and others play practice rounds and look much harder. For sure. I think they were saying, I think Gannon came out and said that he expects the score to be almost 10 full strokes easier than harder than it was last year, which I think will be a big improvement overall. But let me know what you think. I mean, who do you guys think is going to win this one? Do you think that with a course style like this, is Gannon Buhr going to be the odds-on favorite, or does a course like this bring in more people, do you think, to that conversation? Let me know what you think in the chat. Did I watch Paul McBeth's interview on All Birdies No Bogeys? So I was able to catch most of it. Fortunately, I'm so used to listening to my friends on our One Conversation app talk at 2 times speed. I listen to podcasts usually at 2 times speed, and was able to catch a lot of it. And I'll be honest, I think it's just a testament to the fact that touring pros are people, and some of the things that they struggle with are things that a lot of people struggle with. And the more I've gotten involved with the sport of disc golf and been around pros and everything going on, the more I've recognized that these are people and they have things that are happening in their lives. And it's, when you find yourself at the very top, the pinnacle of something, there's a lot of pressure that goes on with that. And to see someone dealing with anxiety and all the things happening in their lives, it's difficult, but it's so very real. So I appreciate that he got onto the podcast and talked about, what he has going on. And I think people want to know. Paul represents a significant entity within disc golf, especially with everything going on. And you got to remember too, there's also stuff outside of just him. They're getting ready. The foundation's getting ready for their international day of play here coming up in just a few days. And so they're trying to get ready for all that. I'm sure that he has an overwhelming amount of things on his plate to deal with, and that can cause a lot of anxiety. He's trying to be a dad, he has all the medical stuff, the passing of a loved one. Very difficult time, but I would definitely watch it if I were all of you guys and gals out there. Do I think that disc golf has a pressure problem? Like we're so desperate to grow that we force a lot of pressure onto our top athletes, and then you see cases like Kristen and Paul where they struggle. That's a really interesting question, because you have to look at that the same way, I guess, a lot of other sports. Like, are we putting the same kind of pressure on those players? But I can't think of an instance where, most of the time those players are already in pre-established sports. You're trying to think about like, oh, there's a lot of pressure on people like LeBron James or these young NBA players or the top talent in the NFL. But those are established sports in the professional world. As disc golf grows, I do think we put a lot of pressure on the people at the top to be as good as they possibly can be, because it's an individual sport as well. So you are honestly on an island, and I don't think there's yet enough relational, the relationship between players and their manufacturers isn't at a point yet where they're so synonymous that it feels like the manufacturers can lift players out of those expectations. And I almost feel like there are more expectations put on players because of their contracts sometimes. I feel like if Kristen would have done an interview like Paul did, it would have taken a lot of pressure off her mental struggles, just kill your momentum. Sure, but remember, they're different people. Like Paul, I think we tend to lump like GOAT level personalities into the same bucket, where we think that just because Paul McBeth feels this way about something, that Kristen could also feel this way about something, when it feels like if you watch all their interviews, they are both very uniquely different people. Very, very different people with struggles at different levels. So, yeah. They have to play well, and then we're expecting them to get big sponsorship deals outside of the sport, be ambassadors. Exactly. I feel like when you're at the top, you have to do just a little bit of everything as a player, which is kind of, I wonder, next year, of course, will be President's Palace. Two courses next year to test courses for Worlds. That, honestly, Kenny, that's a great thing too, because that's a great point. You don't see a lot of European players being super duper open about a lot of that stuff. It's just a different thing in culture. It's why I think it's so difficult sometimes to get a lot of European players onto podcasts to talk about what's going on and how they're feeling. Aside from things like language barrier, there's a cultural difference in terms of the openness and what is shared between, not just within your own family, but within those around you in your inner circle. And then you talk about the outer circle. Professional disc golf doesn't have the money for resources like sports psychologists to help them. If you see it, a lot of these players, and this might be something we talk about tonight. We see the post from like Jessica Gerthy, and we saw, Haley King reaching out about stuff. Like, these players don't independently have a lot of money to go out and just get themselves access to as many resources as possible. It's not like a lot of these players have medical benefits that they can just go, oh, my visits with my therapist are covered by my insurance. It's just doesn't always work like that for a lot of these players. So it's difficult. I can imagine it's very difficult. I'll say it's again for those who aren't sure. Brody is coming. He will be here. He is just finishing up taking care of something. So he'll be here like probably in the next 5 minutes. He's going to pop in and have a good time. Don't worry, he's alive. We were on debate night just earlier, and quite an electric episode debate night, I got to say. We talked about a lot of things. There was some shouting. There was some yelling. There was some AI being attacked. There was money and disagreements. It's going to be a pretty killer episode of Debate Night that comes out tomorrow. So I would check that out, because we talk about the Jessica Gerthy situation. We talk about the World's Purse. We get into some comps between Ken Climo, his era, Paul Macbeth's era, Gannon's era. It's a pretty banger episode. But I watched the President's Cup kind of while working, trying to catch up. Yeah. 5 minutes from Toboggan, there was a news report today estimating the economic impact of worlds coming to Metro Detroit is 4.5 million. Yeah, that's super interesting. I remember when I was younger, I did a big report and study on the effects of large sports, large sporting events coming to areas and how you reach certain levels where it's too much. Like a lot of countries, if they're not well equipped, the Olympics or like the World Cup can actually be not so great for a lot of places if you're not economically able to handle that. But for Detroit, it could be a very, very big thing. What is the equity percentages of the total DGPD purse funds between FPO and MPO? I don't know what the actual percentages are. I know that there's some things that a lot of people don't remember and they don't take into account is that there are monies that are sometimes put aside for events that go towards specific divisions. I forget what the actual event was or who the sponsor was, but I think there was like a whiskey brand or something. There was an alcoholic company that specifically put aside money into a Silver Series event a number of years ago, and it was deliberately given for the FPO field. So sometimes it's not always perfect. And I think if you do sort of a breakout of what the overall payout is, and you look at it for the number of positions that are paid out, it's actually a lot closer than people realize. I think sometimes it even leans in favor of FPO. Yeah. I've noticed a lot of American pros aren't traveling to Europe that you usually see there every year. Yeah, some definite standout names not going over to Europe this year. I think that's a combination of the overall cost of stuff. We're not seeing the European swing being as large as it has been in years past. Like, so this year there's only I think a total of four or so events, 5 events, maybe max. And one of those events is the Heinola Open, which is not really going to be much of anything because most of the ladies are traveling back to get back in time for U.S. Women's. So it's kind of hard to put your resources into getting together and going over to Europe for only 3 or so events, even though one of them is the European Open. So that's got to be tough for a number of people. Great comments from the comment group. What's up, Pee Wee? Welcome in. Captain Broderick will be joining us very, very soon. But if you guys have any fun, than before, why is Yuli not playing this weekend? Yuli is not there. Most of that's his business to talk about, not necessarily my business to talk about. So you can ask him yourself. But yeah. No. Any questions that you guys have? Anything you want to know? If you want any secrets of what it's like to make a podcast with Brody and Yuli, now's your chance to ask, and I can answer before Brody gets in here and jumps over me. But do we have any sneak peeks of this year's USWGCC trophy? No, I'm not that I'm aware of. Yeah, that's one of my biggest questions, Shay, was with him supposed to be playing. And I think last week we saw Yuli ask Gannon to be on Jomez. Jomez, who's going to do Jomez for the European Open? Laying off the Red Bulls, Kenny Nash. I still go to the gym after this stuff, so I do every so often crank down a sugar-free Red Bull. 100% sugar-free Red Bull it's better than what I used to consume and all that before the gym. So I have a Spartan race coming up in a month. I gotta finish getting ready for. We're getting at it. We're getting the job done. How is Yuli so awesome? Just is, man. When you've been around that long, you know all the stories, you know all the people, you know what's going on, and you get this aura, this aura about you. Alden and Gavin should be the junior Jomez team. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. I mean, I want Gannon back in the booth for sure. Fill in the blank. It's not Tour Life unless. Ooh, that's a great one right there. Oh, Tito's. Thank you, Joe. That is Tito's was the one who put in the special added cash for FPO at the Silver Series a bit ago. It's not Tour Life unless we start 2 minutes late. That's going to be the one. Am I full-time disc golf? The answer to that is yes. I'm not going to get too into like the who and what I work for, because obviously this is Foundation's channel and I'm here to support them with that kind of stuff. But I do work full-time in disc golf now, making social media content for the company that I work for, running Whatnot streams. And I do a lot of stuff with my own personal whatever. I run consignment for people. Gary is present. LOL. I'm here. Lucky. I know it. Hey, listen, man, I wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for my wonderful wife. It took me years to get here. I've been in the professional space for over 12 years, grinding my booty off. And we were able to take a leap. And it's a lot of work. I don't sleep anywhere near as much as most people do, but we're here. Gary bought Lone Star. No, Gary is a president. I appreciate that. Unless Gannon is interviewed. That's true. We should have a monthly Brad Hammock update. Yeah, I think we should, guys. I would like to get monthly Brad segments on the show. So I think if enough people put in the comments down below, we demand Brad, or what should we call that segment? Talks from the hammock might be a good. I like that. Or words from the hammock. Do a little cutaway to a little animation of Brad in the hammock. Where are you moving now that you're getting out of Amish country? Kenny Nash, I'm not moving too far away out of Amish country. Anyone who knows the lore about Gary knows that Ben exists in that lore. I'm actually moving pretty close to Ben, only about 15 minutes away. My wife and I are putting ourselves in a place where we have financial positioning to move, kind of do what we want sometime in the next 2 or 3 years. Breakdown with Brad. I like the name of that. Let's see. Oh, Central Coast interview. He said that he would be doing it. Didn't say specifically the European Cup, though. European Open, though. For sure. Yeah, I think Gannon would be good to have do the Jomez. And I'm trying to think who else on the ground there. They've had a few players do it. I mean, Gossage isn't even over there, so he can't do it either. Who knows? Maybe they'll call in Brian for a little double duty action. Honestly, I'm super stoked to get Esa Pekatapala in the booth again. He was on obviously today for the President's Cup. I know that he likes to listen to a lot of the foundation stuff, but he always does an incredible job. I think he is. I think he might be one of, if not, maybe in my top favorite. If I was gonna Mount Rushmore all the people in my commentator stuff, Esa's probably up there in that spot for sure. Again, is basically a host on here at this point. Give a disc golf take that sounds wrong but might actually be true. Esa was great today. I think he jives super well with Brian because they kind of have that passion for the game. One thing that makes Esa such a fantastic commentator is he is so desiring of learning. He wants to know what he can do to be better all the time. He wants to know how American fans consume his commentary and how he can engage with American fans better. He wants to know how can he relate European players to an American audience better. And because he's so willing to learn and a true student of the craft, I think that makes him such a dynamic person behind the mic. And really, if the Pro Tour or the PDGA, whoever's not locking him down long term for all European coverage, I don't know what they're doing. He did great. I can't wait to see him in the booth with Kristen. I think that's going to be fantastic. Yeah, I love saying the name too. One of my favorite non-American names to say. But yeah, for 100% for sure. I want to see the Jomez using the doubles teams each to do one round of coverage. That'd be kind of fun. To have each of the doubles teams have to do Jomez together at some point. FPO commentator Silva, you know how much fun that would be? Hey, I've been told by a little birdie that Silva is starting to open up and be a lot more open to like talking to cameras and people and interviews and stuff like that. I was talking to Anakin not that long ago, and she said that that Silva's opening up for sure. And maybe it's because she's been around players like Simon and Silas Schultz. And so it kind of tends to soften the shell a little bit, And so I think that'll be good for her, good for the sport. I can't wait for us to I'd love to have her come on and do a little interview here at Tour Life, but it is difficult to get her on any kind of podcast. Professional disc golf greens should look like the ones in Estonia. Good, Brad. What specifically about the greens do you like the most? What's your big take on that one? But I think in general, the entire course over there is looking great. I do have a question though. What's up, JT? Welcome in, buddy. Hunter versus Silva, we need 100%. I do have a question though. Did anybody see the pictures of all painted circles? I agree with you. I agree with you on that one. Did anybody see the picture of all of the fencing that they put in for the European Open this year? I forget what the number was in terms of like the total length of fencing they put in, but it was pretty extensive. And I don't know how I feel about it because I like how it's keeping everything kind of separate and secure, but it doesn't jive with like the actual what the course and the environment looks like. It comes off as a little too unnatural, at least to me. I'm maybe it'll feel different when we see all the people around it and everything like that, but that's something I was curious about. You don't like the fencing, makes it more urban. Yeah, that's my point. Is like I can get fundamentally from like a security perspective. I can understand from a logistics perspective why all that stuff. So it looks professional. It also looks like a music festival. That might be the best way of explaining it. Brad, that's a great way of explaining it. Yes. Oh, yeah. Shay, that's a perfect example. So Shay said Macbeth said on Jomez that he wished we show before and after photos to see how much work goes into setting this course up, because you wouldn't even know that this place existed for disc golf. It's just, and that's a great point right there. Also, Filipino Ninja, which is a fantastic name, by the way. That last year it is a massive mud pit, and they still were able to generally fix the course up. I mean, when you have a venue, you have a people group like the Estonian population here who cares so much about the success of this event that they're willing to put in that much work for it. It is incredible what they can accomplish, and I hope that we continue to have these events be successful. Because if given more resources and more time, imagine what this group could accomplish. Shay says the one problem I heard is they need the fencing to make clear pathways for spectators because we're thrown across the established walking paths. Yeah, that's a great point. I forget what hole it is. Is it hole like 3 or 4? But you're kind of throwing across multiple walking paths. It's a very interesting way it's set up visually across the board. So there's that for sure. But is everyone here, like, are you planning to watch coverage of this in fully post-produced? Is anyone going to be trying to catch live coverage of this event? I know MPO, it kind of works out. Like if you have a position where you can kind of watch a little bit of that during the day, you know, it might actually suit pretty well. But FPO is pretty tough to spectate when it comes to events like this. I can't wait to see the changes at WR Jackson after hearing Brian and Macbeth talk about it. Yep. You upgraded for live. There we go, Shay. Upgraded for live. Yeah, all I have to do if I want to watch the FPO coverage is essentially make sure that my 3-year-old doesn't get a nap during the day and then put him to bed early, and I will sure enough be up to watch the FPO coverage. For Jomez only? Okay, Jomez only. That's fine too. 3 a.m. That's a tough one. I know, tough for most people. I think that's one of the bigger barriers that we have with like the relatability of European disc golf or just disc golf outside of the United States. How do we get more people to watch that? I'll mostly be listening while working. Tough to watch while assembling cabinets. Yeah. Well, guys, it looks like the man, the myth, the legend himself has joined. We're going to see if PDJ Mike can toss him in here. Mr. Brody, thank you all for dealing with Tour Life with Gary for the period of time that we've been here. It's been a lot of fun. But I'm going to try to see how good I am. Brody's going to be here in 3, 2, 1. Man, that was PJ Mike's opportunity to look super duper cool right there. Stop saying mean things about Brody. Yeah, chat. Keep chat. Stop. We got to bury those secret comments that we had about Brody and all that kind of fun stuff. I don't know about you, but I really want to hear from Brody about what's going on with getting back into Ultimate. Typical tour life late. I know it's getting bad. It's getting back. It's snowballing, guys. And Brody says he's refiring up the possible debate about what an appropriate way to miss a putt is tonight. So if you're in the camp of missing high is the best miss, you better buckle up, because I think Brody's here to come at your neck tonight. I don't know, but we're never going to know if Brody doesn't join the show, which we know he's here. We're just waiting for him to get tossed in, which is a good time. Good time. Spam to hide the mean stuff. Can't stop, won't stop. Quick, delete all the Brody hate comments out before he sees them. Oh goodness. But hey, thank you all for being here. Thank you for being a part of Tour Life every single week. You know, we put the work in to try to make this possible. So there he is, the man, the myth, the legend.
Apparently StreamYard was glitching.
There we go. Welcome into Tour Life, Brody. How was your week?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Let me get this pretzel down.
We're just talking about the Tallinn Song Festival grounds and how they go from virtually nothing being there to all of a sudden having a course, and how kind of impressive that is. But there's still certain parts of the urban nature that leaves it a little bit,
Are the tee pads the only permanent thing there? Are those permanent, or do they bring? Are those tee pads temporary?
I think the tee pads are temporary.
Really? So they bring literally everything in there.
Yeah, because we were talking a little bit about how they brought in, I forget how much fencing they put in, but it's an unbelievable amount of fencing around the course, because they use it to create artificial walking paths, because a lot of the players throw across the natural walking paths.
Yeah, no, fencing is a great idea. I don't know necessarily if they have to go that hard in the paint with because I kind of saw they're doing like the serious like metal fencing.
Yeah.
I think
like
you probably
fencing.
Yeah, I think you could probably get away with a lot of times just having the little like wrought iron sticks kind of thing with the little twisty twirly thing at the top, and just run rope through that. It'd be interesting to see if they test that a little bit. Now, if it's one of those things of where it's like the fencing is what makes the course look cooler, I guess. I don't really know. I think that kind of fencing around like Hole 18's green and stuff like that could maybe kind of make it, I don't know. I just know I've been to big events, sporting events, concerts, those type of things. And a lot of times the little rope does a decent enough job of keeping people where they need to be.
Yeah, it says here that it's roughly 4 kilometers worth of fencing that was put up for this event.
Wow,
which is crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot of fencing. Because at the end of the day, if someone wants to jump over that fence, they can't jump over that fence.
No,
if they want to get on the other side. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see some. Well, I don't know how much I'll actually see since it's going to be in the middle of the morning.
Yeah,
the highlights, I guess. I'll be excited to see the highlights.
People are saying, what's 4 kilometers in American? 2.5 miles, guys. Get cultured, people. Get cultured.
I'm a kilometer guy now, so
yeah.
I know.
You're just thinking 5Ks.
Yeah. Well, what's good going on in disc golf this past week? What have I missed?
I can't say you missed an absolute ton. We've had the President's Cup's been the talk of the town, but otherwise it's been pretty quiet. We have got a number of pros who aren't going over to Europe who decided to play in different events. You have some bigger events going on. I think that the Tennessee State Championship went down, and Chris Dickerson won it for like the 87th time.
Yep.
Cosmic Open went down up at Maple Hill, which is always a pretty big event, that kind of thing. But no, interesting number of players not going to Europe this year. That was mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive, right? So if you're not going to have your travel covered by your sponsor, it's an expensive trip for sure.
Yeah. It's less events this year too. So it's
okay. Yeah, I don't know how well the travel is from event to event either. Obviously if you can go just get the big flight over and flight back and then able to kind of bounce around, that kind of makes sense. But Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the people that have the means and the money will do it. The people that
Mhm.
just want to travel and go to Europe will do it. And you know, there'll be a lot of people that decide not to. So,
Yeah.
but there's enough. I looked at the field. There's enough big names there that
Yeah.
it'll be a good tournament if the good players show up
Yeah.
and play. And I think from what it looks like they did listen to a lot of people's criticism about the course being a little bit too birdie or par,
Yeah.
and they beefed it up a little bit. And by doing so, that will in turn make the better players have a better, you know, the harder the course, the more likely the better players will finish up towards the top.
Yeah.
So that will give you a better chance of having, you know, the top guys be at the top there at the end.
What I liked is that all the changes they did, at least from what we could tell in like the videos and practice rounds, weren't like little things like, oh, we'll just move the tee pad back or we'll just do this. Like if they moved anything, they kind of added some angle to it and made the shots actually matter a little bit more. So it felt like they didn't do the minimum stuff to make the course more difficult. They actually thought about the process. And so,
That's
you know,
nice.
not to say that Gannon Burr is the, person who has all the disc golf knowledge ever, but he is probably one of the nerdiest disc golfers on tour. And so when he's saying that the course is now going to play 10 strokes harder for the winning score this year, I think that says something, especially when he's saying he likes the course.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely was a different tournament than we're used to seeing, because it was probably one of the more
Mhm.
scoreable tournaments that happened all season. And I remember we kind of were talking about, should there be a major that's like a birdie or die type of major? And you know, I actually was siding with the, you know, it could work because there is a
Yeah.
different pressure in starting your round and knowing that you have to shoot uh you know, you have to shoot low. You have to go low versus,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes in these you know, tougher courses, you might start the round and still have the lead,
Hmm.
right? Like if you shot say 10 under going into the final day, if no one's like popping off really that day, you might still have the lead with 10 under. But if you're going into the final round at 36 under par,
Hmm.
there's a really good chance that there is someone that's like 37, 38, 39. There's someone already out there beating you.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to know you have to go out there and shoot well or you're not going to win.
Yeah. I definitely don't know that I'm all there on 4 rounds of the course like that yet, but like I
I'm
could see
not.
that working really well, like with like a 2-and-2 situation of
Yeah.
2 rounds at a sprint, 2 rounds at kind of a marathon course.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always more of it. I'm always going to be a fan of the tougher courses. I
Yeah.
like watching players have to, you know, struggle. I
Yeah.
don't like, and I'm not talking about having players just like have absolute meltdowns,
Hmm.
which that has been exciting or interesting to watch when it happens at Northwood. But I'm talking more of like, you know, the ups and downs of a round are very interesting.
Hmm.
Where when you play a birdie or par course, you're never really going to be all of a sudden like you have to par 3 or 4 holes in a row for there to be like uh-oh, watch out,
Yeah.
where you just have one bad hole in a round on a very tough course. It's like, can he bounce back? He just took a double. He just took a triple. Like
Hmm.
that to me, I think, or even just like the battling to save par, right? Because like when it's birdie or par, it's like there's just there's no intrigue that they might get in trouble. Whereas them having to struggle to get pars, I find that fascinating to watch.
Yeah. One thing that was kind of interesting, I don't know, there's a lot you can glean from like a President's Cup right now, but one very interesting thing was they played the same 9 holes 3 times today. And so the last 9 holes, they actually kept like a stroke score on. And across the field of players, the best score was 3 under on those 9 holes from Maury Villman and 2 under from Ricky. But
Wow.
they're the only two outside of Holland and FPO. No other player shot under par on those 9 holes after playing it for a third time through. So like,
Yeah, kind of a weird format, you know.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I think that'll be exciting. I think it'll be exciting to watch because
Yeah.
it also gives the ability. Because when you go out to a course where the best player's worst day are going to be 14 under par, it makes it very, very tough for someone to chase them down,
Yeah.
right? Where now you have it to where someone could go berserk. You know, we saw it with Ezra at this very tournament last year when he went berserk mode and moved up a whole bunch of spots. So I like that. I like seeing the ability of like someone going super low the final day and moving up a lot of spots.
Yeah, I think if I'm the FPO field, I'm kind of like stoked that Owen's not there because I feel like Owen's tearing this course up, especially with the way she's been playing this year. So,
Kind of a shocker she's not there.
Exactly.
One Worlds in Europe.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if I caught why she wasn't there, but you know.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything on why she's not there either.
That's how it goes. But no, I think this might be the widest field in terms of like winning opportunity that we're going to see on the MPO side for like a major in a while. So kind of excited to see who takes it down, but
good, Brad. These are just pure HEB. I've when you get older in life, you start learning things. And one of the things I've learned is the difference between the store-bought products and the name brand products is very small. And sometimes the name brand products are the ones that are producing the store-bought products. And so it's like very, very small. So these are just HEB pretzels. We actually I'm having to eat a lot more carbs in the next week. So I was kind of, when I go grocery shopping, I kind of went a little bit more ham on some of the carb options than I normally would. And I picked up these HEB blue Doritos, essentially. It's the HEB, the store-bought blue Doritos. And I haven't had blue Doritos. It was Cool Ranch. Is that what they call them? Cool Ranch Doritos? Yeah. I haven't had Cool Ranch Doritos in a very long time. So it's hard for me to be like, these taste exactly like them. Because I'm sure if you had like a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos and you took a bite and then you had a bag of this, you'd probably be like, this is a little bit different. But I haven't had Doritos in a really long time. These taste phenomenal.
There you go. Yeah. I'm a little bit of a snob to pretzels because the hard pretzel was invented like right here where I'm at.
Was that invented after or before the soft pretzel?
It was after, because it was bits of pretzels that were left in there that got kind of burnt and stuff. So they kind of used to just discard it. And it's like Louis Sturgis Pretzel Company.
Interesting. Never knew that.
They have a little place here. You get a tour.
I would have thought 100% the soft pretzel came after the hard pretzel.
You think?
Yeah, but I guess people like warm stuff. You can't really make a warm hard pretzel.
Yeah,
a warm soft. Oh man, Auntie Anne's.
Ooh, yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah, I was at a wedding this past weekend, and everyone thought the food was done, the cake was served. We were out doing the dancing thing, and they're like, "We got fresh hot pretzels being cut in the back," and everyone just sort of like, "Fresh hot pretzels!" Like, it's amazing. How didn't matter how full you were from the food or how whatever you were from the cake.
Gotta do it.
Says fresh hot pretzels with dipping sauces, like
you gotta do it. Yeah,
that's it.
Garlic parm Doritos, and they taste like garlic Cool Ranch, and I love them.
Ooh.
I'm not a huge garlic guy.
Yeah. Well,
not a big fan of garlic.
Speaking of dipping sauces, bro, you've been dipping back into Ultimate a little bit. How's that going?
I have. So, this started, gosh, was it 2 years ago? It might have been 2 years ago. It was definitely over a year ago. I went to my buddy's wedding, who I played Frisbee with at Florida. So a bunch of my old teammates were all there. And of, the 10, 15 guys that were there, like 3 or 4 are still playing Frisbee. Very few of us are still playing Frisbee. And one of the guys was basically saying, "Hey, the World Championships is coming up, and how Ultimate does it is it does it every 4 years."
Ooh.
So he's like, "The World Championships is coming up, 2026." And at this time, I haven't even reached my peak weight. I think I was probably around 280 at this point. So I ended up getting up to 300, but I was heavy, wasn't running, not in shape, anything like that. I started talking to the guys and whatnot, and maybe had a couple drinks, so that way, you start thinking like, oh yeah, we can do this, we can do this. But quickly, like the thought of me ever playing Ultimate Frisbee again after my 3 knee surgeries, never thought it was possible. So that idea, that dream of doing it kind of just vanished. And he sent a message to like 3 or 4 of us in go group message, and was saying, "Hey, we have a spot available on the team. Tournament's a month away. Is anyone interested?" And I said, "You know what?" I said, let me see. Give me a week. Let me go a week of like trying to slowly get back into it and just see if it's even possible." And so that's when I played. I did a pickup game on Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember what day it was. It was Monday or Tuesday. And that was the first time I played Ultimate in 10 years.
Wow.
And the body definitely did not like it the next day. I wanted to only play for like 15 to 20 minutes. And it, time flies when you're having fun. So I ended up playing for like an hour, which is way more than I should have. But yeah, being back out in the field, it's one of those things of where it's like, yes, I love disc golf. It's fun and whatnot, but we all have that one thing that is just like what it feels like you were born to do. And for me, it's Ultimate Frisbee. I just absolutely love it. And so I put a lot of effort and work into that first week, flew up to Indianapolis 2 weekends ago. Yeah, not this past weekend, but the weekend before that. And we played regionals there. Now they're not going to go on and play nationals because they're going to Worlds, but a bunch of other teams are trying to still qualify for nationals. So played regionals, ended up winning the regional tournament. Awesome. Got to play with a bunch of the guys on the team. And yeah, I leave for Europe. It's going to be in England. So if anyone's listening and you live north of London, it's going to be in Nottingham. Shout out Robin Hood. I will be up there the end of the month. It's a full week of Ultimate. I think we play like Canada, France, Japan. I'm trying to think who else is in our pool, but it's very similar to kind of like the World Cup, where like there's pools, and then how you finish in your pool, you kind of advance through. So we'll see. We'll see.
Right.
We're going to there to try to win a world championship, and we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely not anywhere near the player I was 10 years ago or pre knee injuries, but I can still sling that Frisbee around. So
you're doing the classic. I may not have the speed or whatever, but I'm a smarter player now.
Well,
more cerebral.
I feel like that's always been there. I don't feel like I've gotten that much better at that. I feel like I've always understood the game very well, seen the game really well. Now it's like the hardest part is going to be not doing the things that my body is used to doing. When you get out there, it's like riding a bike. You kind of just start going and doing the same stuff that you used to do.
Yeah.
Now I kind of have to like pull the reins back a little bit and be like, hey, we're not, if we make it to the championship game, everything's off the table. everything's off the table. But leading up to the championship game, I can't be diving over the place and jumping and doing all that stuff.
Yep.
You know, get to the championship game. Whatever happens, happens.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you get to the championship game, you're leaving it all out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hypothetical, you go on, you guys win the world championship. Is that where you hang it up then, and you're like you're going out a world champ, or is that like the spark to keep going?
I think it depends on how the body feels. You know, like I've been putting in. I've kind of made a shift in my training. So like I was super heavy running distance and lifting. And now I am still doing distance running, but not nearly as much. Like I changed my volume from running 40 to 50 miles a week to now I'm running like 25, 30 miles a week. And now I'm doing a lot more sprint work, acceleration, deceleration, cutting, jumping, a lot of that stuff. So, you know, if I continue to improve over the next 2 weeks, make it through the tournament, who knows, man? Because I do love playing Ultimate a lot.
So this might be a silly question because obviously the foundation of like Frisbee disc skill you have comes from your experience with Ultimate.
Yeah.
Has doing anything in disc golf over the last few years done anything to add or give you anything extra as you've kind of reapproached Ultimate?
Well, the nice thing is I did Ultimate before disc golf, and I did it a lot more than disc golf. So going from changing my form from disc golf to Ultimate, a lot easier than the opposite of changing my form from Ultimate to disc golf.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think I can throw the disc. So, like, it's weird because it's like if I didn't play disc golf and I got back into Ultimate, how far could I throw? Right? Because I used to throw really, really far. You know, when I was mid-20s, I feel like I'm throwing just as far as I used to. Like I can still throw full field backhands, full field forehands, and I'm wondering if like disc golf has improved some of the muscles of throwing to where I'm able to do that.
Extended the longevity there. That's interesting.
Like it's I mean I threw a 100-yard field goal. So that's 300 feet with an Ultimate disc.
Yeah.
Easily. So
yeah.
I don't know. It feels to me like the disc is flying out of my hands. And I'm wondering if that is something that kind of built up with disc golf over the last 5 or 6 years. Now the question is, had I continued to play Ultimate, would I kind of be in the same spot? I don't know. I don't know if disc golf specifically has given me more distance in Ultimate. Hard to say.
That's interesting.
I feel like if I didn't play disc golf though, and I just like sat at my computer and streamed games all day, and then I went back, I probably would be in a much worse spot than being playing disc golf. Yeah. Shay says disc golf likely helped you maintain. Yeah, that's what I think definitely happened.
100%. Gotta avoid that wheelchair Ultimate.
It's the protein HEB Doritos knockoffs. No, I actually don't buy anything that says like protein on it because normally when it says protein on it, it's normally kind of a scam. I call BS on full field flick with an Ultimate Frisbee. Oh. Wait, you don't think I can do it now, or you don't think I could ever do it? Also, thanks for the $10.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, let me PGA Mike, are you there?
You grab that video.
Let me see if I can find a video real quick.
I'm not going to no Ultimate World Championships, Brody, but I got a Spartan race in a month.
Dude, that's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
Is it how much different is that than a Tough Mudder?
So the Spartan race, the Tough Mudder's like we want to get you dirty, tired, and we all going to celebrate. Same thing with a Savage race. I did a Savage race a number of years ago. The Spartan race is like, hey, this isn't about having fun. This is about accomplishing a thing. Because like the other ones, you know, if you miss an obstacle, you miss an obstacle. Spartan race, if you miss an obstacle, you pay for it with burpees right then and there.
Oh gosh, like that's your penalty?
Yeah, I think you have to pay with like 15 burpees for every obstacle you don't accomplish.
Um.
It's a good time.
Oh, he wants to link the vid there. Okay. Hold on.
Oh,
Let me see if I can do that.
pull it up.
I put it in the wrong spot.
Yes, it's Tuesday already. Time flies.
Oh, he got it. Okay. It took me literally 5 seconds to find a video. There was like 4 or 5. So
Got it queued
who
up.
you got? USA versus Australia. Oh, is this World Cup? Have you been watching the World Cup stuff?
A little bit. I have a guy who asked me to do a comp of disc golfers to World Cup countries.
That would be sick.
Yeah,
that would actually be really cool.
He gave me a full Excel sheet of a write-up of every single country, and he's like, it's something I'm going to be working on. So I can read a few if you want.
Yeah, read them off while we wait for this video to pop up.
There we go. Beautiful. Let's see here.
I'm curious who your Gannon Burr is.
He was saying France, I think, because it's like the young, everyone kind of expects them to always do really well. So, okay, so here we go. So France, a youthful team, but still packed with experience and have already proven themselves in the big stage, always the favorite going into a tournament and often viewed as the villain. Easily has the most stacked offense in 2026 and a debate for all time. So the suggestion there was Gannon Burr.
Okay. Oh, so you got like a little blurb of what each team is so that you could kind of pick them? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
I saw the title, so if it's not good, don't get mad at me. That was 90 yards. 9.5 second hang time for a forehand.
Here we go.
a full field forehand, by the way, is 70 yards, just for everyone to know. The ultimate frisbee field is 70 yards long.
Only 70.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the end zones are big. So the end zones are, I think the end zones are 20 or 25 yards.
Gotcha.
They might be 25 yards.
No wonder I used to be gassed playing ultimate frisbee, playing on a football field.
Yeah. Well, initially when we played, I actually don't know, the AUDL changed their name to the UFA, which I think is a much better name. The AUDL is so hard to say. But initially, when I believe we first played in the AUDL, we did play on football fields, and we just played with 20-yard end zones. I want to say, and 80 yards. The field was 80 yards. Yeah. So. All right, give me 3 more, and then let's talk about this putting situation.
All right, so let's go to teams that were Germany, one of the most successful nations in World Cup history and known for efficiency and tons of talent. After major disappointment over the last 8 to 10 years, they have rebuilt with a new generation of talent and are going in as contenders. A lot of people are still down on Germany, but they have something to prove.
Is that Ricky Wysocki?
Ooh, that could be Ricky because it's been yeah, that could be Ricky. That's a good.
Uh-oh, we might have lost Gary. Did we lose myself or Gary? Am I still here? Hello?
Am I back?
Good. Oh, is it you or me? It was you. Oh, okay. You're back. I can hear you.
I have no idea. There's no one else in this house using Wi-Fi unless there's a ghost on the Wi-Fi.
The Rock Monster. Why didn't you throw backhand off the rip? Because it would have gone out the end zone. I would have thrown the backhand like probably 110 yards.
All right. USA. Fans of the USA are putting big expectations on this team since they're playing at home. But the rest of the world doesn't have as much respect for what this team can do. This team always seems to be living in the what ifs of if the best American athletes played soccer, but for those who chose to, they are hungry to prove it to the non-believers.
Oh, this is easy. This is the Eagle. This is the Eagle.
This is Eagle?
This is Eagle. Who'd you
I mean,
have?
that would make sense. No, I have to put these together for him later, so
Oh,
I
you didn't
haven't
have
put
anyone.
anyone in yet. So Eagle's a good one. I mean, he did say in the interview last week that he was never gone. So
Oh, he was gone.
yeah. Let's see. We'll do one
Eagle was
more.
too good in the past. Yeah, maybe.
We'll do one more. Let's see. A team. Spain's a team that's no. Mexico's always in it. And someone said Yuli for Mexico earlier.
The
Mexico,
Rock
another
Star was
host nation, but one that has bled soccer for centuries, has insanely passionate fan base, a team that boasts great legends of the game, but doesn't really have any superstars for the tournament. We'll be hoping that the energy of the fans and representing their history will be able to propel them deep into the
That's
tournament.
easy. That's easy. That's Big Germ.
That's big germ. Okay.
It's Big Germ.
There you go. Big germ.
Big Germ,
perfect.
Mexico.
I used to watch the World Cup like crazy all the time. Now it feels like I never have any time to watch anything anymore.
Yeah, there's so much soccer. It's a lot of soccer, and it's for a really long time. But man, people love it. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I came across this comment. I thought we were done with this, but I forgot that in one of my YouTube videos, I threw it in there in a recent one, I guess. And so someone made a comment on it recently, and I just saw it pop up again. And the comment, let me see if I can pull the comment up real quick. Let me see if I can find this. Let's see, view all ones that I've already talked to.
Well, Brody finds that chat. You let us know right now. Is it best to miss high, or is a miss just a miss?
He might have deleted. He might have deleted. Oh wait, unresponded. Get rid of that. I responded this guy. Okay, here we go. The comment says, when you miss high, you're at least giving the disc a chance to go in. Missing low, never a chance. Missing high is definitely better, in my opinion. Okay, so let's break this down. No, Ron Jones, we're bringing it back just for a little.
I warned you, Ron. I warned you.
Just for a little bit. Can we both be on the same page here? Okay, and say that you throw the distance that you're throwing. First off, let's just say it's 20 feet. Okay. Let's just say it's 20 feet. Can we both say that if you throw with enough power for the disc to travel 25 feet, okay, in the air, and you throw it into the dirt or like you hit the pole under the basket. Okay. And then the other one, you putt and it goes 2-3 feet over the cage. Can we both agree that you missed and neither one of those ever had a chance of going in? I mean, I can even go further and say you aim the disc 50 feet above the basket and you throw it 50 feet above the basket and you miss, and you aim the disc 10 feet below the basket and you throw it 10 feet below the basket. Can we both agree that neither one of those ever had a chance to go in?
Yep.
Okay. So there, a miss is a miss. It doesn't matter. Okay. Now let's go to 99.99% of the time. Can we agree that if you throw the disc into the cage, it does not go into the basket?
Most of the time, yes.
99.99% of the time.
Yeah.
Can we also agree 99.99% of the time that if you throw the disc into the band, it does not go into the basket?
Yes.
Okay. So again, a miss high and a miss low, both of them never had a chance of going in. So my whole thought with this is when you're aiming, you're not aiming to miss. You're aiming to make, right? And so if someone says it's better to miss high, all you're doing, like when you're putting, you don't necessarily know if you're going to miss high or low in a putt. Are you telling me? Are you telling me right now when you aim for a target that you've never had it go lower than the target you aimed at? For example, hear me out. When you're putting from 20 feet, the majority of us are aiming for the middle of the basket, correct?
Yeah.
Have you ever had the disc hit the bottom of the chains and go in?
Yeah, I'd say if I miss, like, I'm not really surprised at the miss laterally, because like I know what my miss is, but from 20 feet, I'm not usually putting it and going, "Holy cow, I hit the ground!" Like, what happened there? Given ideal circumstances.
And a lot of that has to do more with the power you're putting on it, right? Because ideally, the angle of release of your disc is roughly the same, right?
Yep.
You're not throwing the disc at a 45 degree and then the next time you're throwing it at a 15 degree. Ideally, you're roughly throwing it the same angle. The power is actually what really determines whether you miss high or low. If you don't throw with enough power, it's going to fall faster than you're expecting and go below. If you throw with too much power, it's not going to fall and it's going to keep going up. Right? But sometimes your angle is off too a little bit. My whole thought is when you're aiming towards the basket, we can all agree that we aim for the middle. And if you're telling me you have never made a putt below the middle of the basket, and all the times you either hit your target perfectly or you hit the top of the basket or you go over the basket, I would call you a liar first because I don't think that's true. But what I'm saying is none of us control, like, our miss is above and below our target always. No one is ever missing only above where they're aiming, and no one's ever missing only below where they're aiming.
Yeah, it's not robots.
Correct. And that it's the same thing as left and right. Like sometimes you're going to miss left and sometimes you're going to miss right. Now, you could miss one way more than the other. I'm not saying you couldn't. You could miss one, you could shy one way more than the other. And what do? You shift where you aim. If you miss left more than you miss right, you're probably not going to aim for the middle of the basket. You're probably going to aim middle right of the basket. Right? Am I crazy?
It's so my miss will always be, because I literally say the mantra myself, right height, right. So I will miss exactly the height that I want, just to the right. And I do not adjust my putt left because most of the time it gets me exactly where I want. And if I adjust left, then I'm going to be hitting the left of the basket.
Yeah, I just think it's just one of those things of where people are like throwing Trevor Staub in there. Okay, let's talk about Trevor because people are saying he's notorious for hitting the basket and missing low, right? I think that isn't necessarily an aiming issue, right? I think that is a commitment issue of where he's not committing and throwing with enough power.
Yeah, every time he hits the cage, it looks like the putt fell out of his hand.
Right? It's not like he's aiming too low and he's missing. So like that's where it's just like, to me, to end it, a miss is a miss. And if I'm Trevor, for example, do we think that if all of a sudden he started aiming 6 inches higher than where he currently is aiming, do we think that he all of a sudden becomes a much better putter?
Slightly better, but it wouldn't change the commitment issue on the putt that caused the problem to begin with.
Yeah, like I don't think he actually becomes that much. If anything, I think it's actually harder for him to commit because sometimes he's probably going to be aiming to where if he actually throws a good putt, it doesn't go in.
Yeah. I think
so. Like no one is aiming for the band. No one is being like, I'm trying to hit the band.
Well, hang on. The rebuttal that I have to that is there are situational times when it is more appropriate for your putt to be a little bit higher than it is lower.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
So like if let's say I'm throwing an uphill putt and I have a nice tailwind, I have to aim higher because that's going to drop. So I will tell myself I would much rather hit the band because if it does sink, I am more likely to go into the basket, knowing that that's my aim anyway, than missing low. That to me, there is a more appropriate miss there than, because if you hit the cage, you legitimately, you're never going to get a wind lift, the angle of the putt, there's no chance it ever had. But at least if you're aiming higher, the wind does present an opportunity on a drop to get you into the basket in some world.
Yeah, and my point too is even when you're doing that aiming, sometimes the disc is going to end up lower than what you were aiming at, and sometimes it's going to end up higher than where
for sure. Because you may putt, you may know there's a tailwind. We've all been there where you'll putt in a tailwind, and the tailwind will stop the moment you putt, and it's now way higher than you ever wanted.
Yeah, and my point is like when you go and you talk about other, if anything too, you can even say like people that overcommit putts. Sometimes those are the people that are sometimes missing the short putts, because they're throwing them into the chain so hard that they're like rockabye baying out. My whole point is a miss is a miss. No one is technically ever aiming to miss the basket. We're all trying to make the basket. Sometimes we miss low, sometimes we miss high. So in that regard, there is never a time on just a basket in the middle of the field. There's never a time where you can say, well, at least you missed high, because you were aiming, you missed where you were aiming.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's a coping mechanism to feel better about the fact that you missed by saying it.
Because you could be just like, if you, let's say there's someone out there that's the opposite of Trevor that overcommits. That's like, I'm going to jam all my putts in, and they are constantly missing high. They're going to be way worse off. Like that type of person, you got to say, hey, you got to rein this back, man. You keep juicing your putts 30 feet over the basket, and you keep missing your comebackers. So like in that scenario, missing high is not good.
Yeah, you could look at it from both angles. Like there's the person that'll say, oh, missing low means I undercommitted, but the other person's like, yeah, missing high and I'm far away from the basket. I think no matter how you look at it, you could make an argument one way or another, but you're right. A miss is still a miss.
But you could also technically miss low by just releasing the disc wobbly, or coming out of your hand weird, or just not having the pop, or or releasing it a little too early. There's a lot of things that cause you to miss low, and a lot of things that cause you to miss high. Like it's not I don't know. I think there's more moving parts in like that type of putt than like in golf, right? Like in golf, when you have a straight 3-foot putt, there's not a lot of moving parts. So if you leave the putt short, you literally just didn't hit it hard enough. If you hit it through the cup and it bounces and goes on the other side, you hit it too hard. Where in disc golf, it's not necessarily always how hard you throw it. It could sometimes also be the angle of release. When you actually release, there's a lot of things that go into it. When we're talking about, we're not even talking about left and right. Left and right's more of a crazy thing. We're just talking about up and down. So I think I end my case on this. A miss is a miss. And I will never be happier hitting the band than hitting cage.
Moral of the story.
I wasn't aiming for that. I was aiming for the middle of the basket.
Yep.
And if anything, to your point, Gary, I would almost argue sometimes that could be worse. Like where you're saying that you're expecting the disc to do something, right? And you're like, because I was always told to try to reduce the negative thoughts in your head. So if you're walking up to a hole that has a water carry, instead of saying like, I hope my disc doesn't go in the water, don't go in the water. I need to throw whatever shot that my disc doesn't go in the water. Instead of doing that, which is all negative, and emphasizing the thing that you're trying not to do, it's better to say, I want to throw this shot 20 feet past the water, or I want to throw this shot 10 feet past the basket. And so it's not a negative thing of like, I can't have this go in the water.
To me, I've learned that when you're kind of optimistic, it doesn't, like, it's just easier to live on a course. Cause like, I'll just go, what's the distance? It's in my range. I just got to hit the angle of the disc right. It doesn't matter. I don't have to think about going short of the water, long of the water. It's just a simple mathematical
equation. You're not thinking of the water. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mathematical equation. Is the water carry 500 feet? I'm not going for it. That's is the water carry 300 feet? Okay, hit the disc right, and you won't be bothered by it. But
It,
yeah,
it's the
yeah,
same thing. It's the same concept of holes that have like tunnels. Like you have a tunnel
yeah,
hole, and if you removed all the trees and you
yeah,
had players just throw putter shots at the basket without any of the tunnel trees, the majority of pros are hitting that line
yeah,
9 out of 10 times. But now all
yeah,
of a sudden you put the tunnel trees there, nothing changes from you being able to still throw the same exact shot,
yeah.
but now the amount of people that don't complete the shot increases, and it's literally a mental thing. It's people being like,
Oh yeah,
I don't want to miss the gap. I got to hit the gap.
yeah.
And
There's a
they stop.
video. Yuli put out a video years ago where he played one of the courses at Charlotte, and it was for 9 holes, and he deliberately talked about every single thought that went through his mind, and one of them was how a lot of pros will approach gaps, and it's like if the disc out of my hand, 10 feet out of my hand, is the angle that I want it to be at, then they've accomplished everything. There's no reason to think beyond that process. And then if you really try to get into it, the amount of airspace taken up by some of these trees is
Yeah.
so tiny percentage wise that as long as you hit your angle right, you feel good about all that. Like if you hit the tree, you hit the tree. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all it is.
Magiandro. I'm not saying that right. He asks, is there a difference in the idea of don't leave it short versus it's better to miss high? So I think that's a better question
Mm,
because I think the better way of looking at it, if you are trying to improve your putting, you want to be trying to think of, I want this putt. If the chains didn't exist, you should be trying to think, I want this putt to have enough inertia to hit the pole, right? Like that's what you should be trying to think about, is not so much where you're aiming up or down, but necessarily like, I want to give enough speed on this disc that it can actually, when it goes in, it's got enough to hit the pole versus it's barely teetering over the front of the cage.
mm.
So I think that's what you should be thinking about versus like, don't leave it short, or is it better
Yeah.
to miss high? Like I don't think you should be aiming high. I think you should still, the target is this, right? Like this is the target.
Yeah.
You should be aiming for the middle. That is literally the thing
Yeah.
that makes the most sense. In
Yep.
any other world of where, and like, I'm trying to think like soccer. Let's just say soccer. If you're trying to make a penalty kick without a goalie for $1 million, right? Left to right, where are you aiming? Right in the
Right
middle.
in the middle. Yep.
You're,
You got
you're aiming
24 and a half feet right in the
because
middle.
you could miss it a little left and still make it. You could miss a little right and still make it. And so same thing in disc golf is like, you have up and down and left and right. You should be aiming that thing right in the middle if you putt flat and straight. Now, obviously, if you're putting with like a little bit of an arc, you should probably, like, if you putt like Silas. Someone talked about Silas. I don't know if you saw The Amazing Race, but also
Of course.
we could also jump into The Amazing Race because there was some stuff in there they didn't show that if you want us to talk a little bit about The Amazing Race.
Yeah,
Chat,
yeah.
chat. Let me know if you want to do a little Amazing Race or if you guys have questions about The Amazing Race. But yeah, if you putt like Silas, where it's coming heavy right to left,
Mm-hmm.
the basket actually gets bigger if you aim right because the disc is coming in from the right.
Yeah.
Versus if you're trying to make the disc hit the middle of the chains, it's now kind of like coming across versus changing it. So, okay, so yeah, ask me some questions about Amazing Race. I'll give you guys some answers. If you guys have any questions, I will say the thing that was very interesting is I didn't do the first one. They did like a test trial of this a couple years ago.
Yep.
And from what they gathered, they felt like the actual race part of where it was like getting from challenges to challenges and all that stuff wasn't that important because the challenges took so long. So it was mostly who did the challenges the fastest and everything else didn't really matter. So they wanted the racing, so like the running portion of this race to matter a lot more. I didn't realize it was going to be as much running as it was. I actually did my running workout that morning of. I think I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and did my workout because we started filming at like 6:30 or 7. We ran so much, Gary.
Oh,
There
I
was
can believe it.
there was so I think after the fact they realized it was like too much running. They really condensed the final challenge when we were playing like the 9 holes or whatever it was. We were basically running, and the only time we'd stopped running was to throw the disc.
Yeah.
Like it was that wasn't like so I think there's definitely going to be make some changes moving forward because I think they saw what worked and what didn't work. Like I think that final challenge needs to be something that is going to take. It's not just this is going to take 30 to 35 minutes for everyone to complete. It needs to be something that's like this is going to take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, there's a range there.
Yeah, and it's going to be challenging to finish, not just everyone can do it, you just have to get through it type of thing. And there was a lot of challenges kind of like that of where it was just like you saw the first challenge. The first challenge we messed up because we thought it was 3 birdies instead of 2. But the first challenge, it was like once you got your 2 birdies, it didn't really matter what else you did. Just get through the rest of the round. And so I think maybe they'll change that a little bit.
One thing that I definitely didn't pick up on.
You should be in it next time, Gary.
Hey, listen, you say the word, I'm there. I think I got to the end of the episode and I swore up and down that Trevor and Connor never used their skip a hole.
I think they skipped hole 2.
Yeah,
it was hard. It was hard to see, but they skipped hole 2, I believe.
So, yeah, I went right to the comments to be like, "Am I an idiot?" And other people felt the same way. Then someone's like, "They skipped hole 2." It was very brief because you saw them on hole 1 and then you saw them on hole 3.
I think go ahead.
No, so like, there was no like discussion. Like we didn't see that happen because I was literally at one point when you guys were on the previous challenge where you were stuck having to both birdie.
They could have skipped that second to last hole.
I was screaming like, just run past them to the parking lot. Like, but yeah, it was good.
So that final challenge was very challenging for us with how much running there was, but it was more challenging for the camera people because they were having to try to run and film everything. And so I think that's where it definitely, I think they could have, and they didn't do this, but I think in the future, they will have it set up this way where it'll be similar to how Amazing Race actually does it. Where Amazing Race, you have a camera guy and a sound guy. Obviously, we don't need a sound guy, but you have a camera guy that follows you the entire time. And then when you get to a challenge, they're already set up and they're ready to film. So your camera guy films some stuff, but they already have the main cameras. And so I think for like that final challenge of us running around the course, had they maybe condensed it to where it was like maybe a couple holes on the same side, and they could have had, once the camera guys got there, they could have like filmed everything. I think that's going to make it a lot easier than having the one guy. The other thing I think we're going to do too is have like those sit down talks with like the producer. So like once the show is already done, once we've already filmed everything, we'll go through everything. So that way you could have Trevor and Connor basically be like, yeah, we got through the first hole. We looked at the second hole. We said we didn't want anything to do that. We used our express pass to pat. So then that way you can kind of fill in the gaps. Because there was a lot of times where me and Silas were doing something and we're not going to stop and be like, okay, camera, let me explain what's going on. You know, like you're not going to ever do that. Hale wants to know, when you and Silas got to Chick-fil-A, did the other teams leave 5 minutes after you, or was it 5 minutes on top of how many? So this was honestly a fair thing to do because we obviously, had there not been that time separation thing, or the whatever you call it, like the limit, whatever you want to call it, when we got to
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A, and they basically made it to where
Pit stop. Yeah.
we started, then 5 minutes after us, the next team started, then 5 minutes after them, the next team started. So basically, there was only a 10-minute gap between us and last place, and a 5-minute gap. Had they not done that, me and Silas probably would have won by like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And they could have maybe faked it, but there's a chance that me and Silas are on that final challenge playing that course and no one else is playing it. And yeah, you could maybe fake it to make it seem like someone else is there and like go back and forth. And Amazing Race does this. Like when we were eliminated,
Oh yeah.
we were like an hour and a half after the last team that got to the mat, but they still made it look like us and them were on a foot race trying to figure out where the mat was, even though like we were 100% out. So you could do that, but I'm okay with like the making it close again, because you just don't really want it to be a runaway towards the end. But they probably should have had a couple more challenges after Chick-fil-A.
For sure.
Instead of how many they had.
Was the rain a little bit of a blessing because of how popular those courses are down there?
No.
Well, no, not a blessing because you had to deal with it, but like it kept the courses empty. So it probably made operating a lot easier.
Think, now that you say it, I don't think I saw a single person, Gary, on any course. Yeah, I didn't see a single person. You're right. Yeah, I mean we were playing these courses during the week, early in the morning. So maybe towards the end, some people might have been out there messing around if it was better weather, maybe. But yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. It was really, really, I mean, it was honestly a terrible, terrible day to play disc golf. So it probably did make a lot of the locals be like, I'm not going out to play today. So the courses were completely done. I hated the rain. I mean, it wasn't ideal. All my discs too. Silas made my bag. And
gosh.
Yeah, he did a good job. I should have looked at what my bag was before the race started. That was a mistake. I was like, as we were like racing, I was yelling at Silas what discs were in my bag. So I should have taken a few minutes just to look to what he put in there. All premium plastic. And premium plastic in the rain is a nightmare. Absolutely nightmare. So we found a couple discs that were base out of his bag that we could throw. So I was just like kind of throwing the same kind of discs.
I thought the teams ended up being, I liked what they were. At first, I thought there was no way. I thought that Hunter and Tyler were going to just run away with that thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think the teams are decently fair. You know, I think I like the idea too of not having every challenge. I like the disc, like even though like that disc thing, I wasn't a huge fan of it at the time, because one of my big complaints was it felt like sometimes we were doing like an escape room where we were having to try to figure out what the challenge wanted us to do. So when they were taking the disc out of the bins and like having to go set them over on the table, I think they should have. I think it should have been more clear what they wanted, or at least have a clue, or at least like have a clue in the clue of make sure you put them in the right way or something like that. The problem is it didn't have anything like that. It didn't have like a clue like that we were trying to figure out. So I think those are things that honestly, I mean, Jason and Brad were the kind of the masterminds behind this. I think there was one other person that helped too. I can't remember who it was. I give it like a 9 out of 10. I think it was really, really well done and definitely way better from the previous iteration of it. So I can't wait for next year, because I think it's going to be even better after this year with all the kind of stuff they saw.
I think the challenge that you guys always run into with the foundation stuff, we've talked about this like after the Imposter series, is people want to see you play disc golf. but like part of these is also putting in the puzzles and the travel. So it's like, how do you balance
Yeah.
getting people disc golf, but also having the other stuff without people feeling like, hey, where's the disc golf at? It's a
Yeah.
constant challenge of what kind of percentage goes to each. But
I
no,
will
it was
also
super enjoyable.
I will say too, if you are a fan of Imposter, which we're filming soon actually, but
Mm.
if you are a fan of Imposter, check out the Netflix show Million Dollar Game. I watched it for the first time this past week, and I feel like I told Hunter immediately, you need to watch this show because I think the biggest thing with Imposter, and as you know, you being the imposter and getting kind of sniffed out quick, the
Yeah.
biggest thing with Imposter is the what I think the biggest flaw of the game is two things. One, people are playing individually
Yep.
when it's technically a team sport. Like the goal should be to keep as many people in the game as possible and get
Yep.
the imposter out. Like the goal should ideally this is how I would view it, right? Is like if there's 5 people left and the imposter is eliminated, those 5 people each get $10,000. If there's 4 people left and the imposter is eliminated, those 4 people each get $7,000. Like the less people there are, the less money each person gets because you play the
Yeah.
game worse, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I view the game is like
Yep.
you did a worse job at the game, you should get less money.
Yep.
Um,
The imposter
so
should almost get more money for every round they stick around. So
correct.
it's like it really incentivizes them to be as careful as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now how the $1 million game worked, Squid Game's absolutely not good, Brad. I'm not watching that. How the game worked that I thought was very interesting is everyone comes into the show and very similar to Imposter, when you get into like they all stay in this massive mansion. When you go to your room, each person has their own room. You have a little box and you open the box, and inside the box is either $1 million or not.
Oh,
And only
that's
one
what
person has the $1 million.
Yep.
The goal is for everyone to figure out who the millionaire is, who has
Yep.
the $1 million, because if you don't vote out the millionaire, you're voting out someone else that doesn't have the $1 million bucks. And a lot of times the millionaire gains a power. So the millionaire sometimes could vote someone else out as well. So whoever they voted for also is eliminated. So you eliminate 2 people, or the millionaire gets an advantage in some future thing, right? Now, if you do vote out the millionaire, the show doesn't just end, which is what Imposter should happen. Is we vote Gary out, there's no imposter, we all win. But obviously we can't do that because we have to create multiple episodes. So how they do it in the millionaire is you vote out the millionaire, everyone goes to sleep, everyone wakes up, you open your boxes again, and there's a new millionaire. So now if you form these alliances, which I think are dumb, but if you form alliances, you don't know. Like initially, I might have formed an alliance with you, Gary, and you're not a millionaire. But later in the show, you might be the millionaire. And now now I have to figure out like what the heck is that all about?
Yeah, I've seen this format on other YouTube channels, and now I know where it comes from. I've never seen that original, but I've seen the format, and man, that came from somewhere.
And then there's like there's other things too where the thing that I think would be really, really funny is instead of the imposter having to instead of Hunter setting a line and it's either the imposter wins or the town win, he should set a line that gives power to and sometimes it could be even be sometimes he could even set it to where it's like an individual thing. We all do individual thing, right?
Yeah.
But if he set a line, say like he said 10 under par, right? Instead of the imposters trying to stop us from getting 10 under par, that doesn't matter. But the imposter gets something that they have to do during the round. So the imposter has to, if they want, they don't have to, but the imposter has to do, let's say, has to hit first available twice, right? So if the imposter hits first available twice, they get to eliminate someone additionally at the voting. But if you decide I can't hit first available twice, this is going to seem too, people are going to be on to me.
Yeah.
Then you get like 3 votes automatically added to your votes. So there's a way higher chance that you get eliminated because you already have 3 votes on you. So you have to wear that. And now us as players, we're not watching to see if anyone's playing bad.
Looking for weird behavior.
We're like, why is this guy giving me a high five every single hole? Like, why is this guy keep saying pasta? Like he keeps bringing up different pastas. So like now you're all of a sudden trying to figure out who's being weird.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's one where it says cannot talk for an entire hole.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a golf channel that did that pretty well. They did this concept. And it was very entertaining.
I think there's a lot of things in there that would make the actual show Imposter work better. Because right now, and I think that the show is going to be a lot different. I think they're going to change a lot of it because I don't think they like the whole buddy system that it's currently set up.
There's a lot of outside of the game relationship happening in the game,
which makes it really hard for viewers to watch because you're like, why are people doing that?
Especially when you combine large creators with people who are aspiring creators or not creators, and they almost want to be such good friends with the creators that they're kind of willing to be like, hey, I'll vote with you, I'll be with you, because like I don't want to be in a position where we don't know each other after this. Yeah. So like it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic.
Now the other thing about this game, right, is the imposter always will make it to the final. Right? Because once you vote out the imposter, someone new becomes the imposter.
Yep.
So the imposter is always going to be at the end with 2 other people.
Yep.
So it takes out the team element because you realize only one person is going to win because only one person is going to be the imposter. And so I don't know how you would end it, but the way they end it is they do a challenge with the 3 people at the end. Okay. Mm-hmm. Based on how you finish the challenge is your order. If you get 3rd, you're not allowed to do anything. If you get 2nd, you get to make 1 play. If you get 1st, you get to make 1 play. Yeah. So if I'm coming in and I'm 1st and I know you're the imposter for whatever reason, you are coming 2nd.
Yep.
Now it's a head game of me figuring out, did Gary keep the imposter in front of him? Did he give the imposter to me? Did he give it to someone else? Like, it becomes very interesting because obviously you want to be the imposter at the end to win the game.
Yeah, it turns into my favorite game ever, which is the carrot in the box game, which is you lie whether or not there's a carrot in your box.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I think it makes the ending so much better because the problem with both these kind of endings that we've had with Imposter is like obviously one kind of got ruined, but even with Trevor is like I think everyone kind of knew it was Trevor going into the final round as well. It just makes that final round not that interesting.
Yeah. We had the inkling in the first season that it was Trevor. And I thought for sure Trevor was gonna get someone to flip on me, but
yeah. So we'll see. I just think I just think there's a lot of very interesting twists. And it gives also production a lot of like because you're able to like open your chest so many times, it gives production stuff of where like Gary, you might not be the imposter, but like you open it and it says in it like you will be voted out if you don't do this.
Yeah.
So now you have to like do something, but you're not the imposter.
I have to do it, but I can't tell people, and I can't like I have to not make it look suspicious. Yeah. No, I love that stuff.
I forgot. The best thing is the challenges aren't for money, right? There's just a set pool that we're playing for, and one person's gonna win it. The challenges aren't for money. The challenges are for information on who the imposter is.
Yeah.
So you end up, let's say there's a team of 5 and a team of 5. You end up these 2 teams, and I also think that gives the ability of people to battle against each other, and it makes the imposter want to win because if you're the imposter, You want to be the person to go in to get the clue that it's you. So that way you can change the clue to something else to make it pin on someone else. Now we have to believe if you're, and so the winning team decides who gets to go in to get the clue of who the imposter is. And then it could be, and again, it's not like a clue that's going to automatically give away. It could be the imposter decided to airball a couple putts today.
Yeah.
And now you go back and you're like, there was 4 people that had airball putts in today's challenge. Who were they?
Yeah.
Ding, ding. Okay, it's one of these 4. Right? And then you also make it too. Obviously, you don't want to make it to where like there's like 4 clues, and it's gonna obviously after the 4th clue, everyone knows who the imposter is. So you can also make it. You won't want to be the imposter.
You can rule people out.
You can also switch. The imposter can also switch. That could be a power of where if the imposter gets to finishes their power, hits first available twice, they can randomly have someone else become the imposter, because you don't want to be the imposter till the very end.
Yeah,
it's nearly impossible to make it through the game as the imposter at the beginning, because so many clues are going to be coming against you. So I don't know.
I love it.
I got very excited thinking about the possibilities of this new game, because I love the game Imposter. I love doing it. I just always get so butthurt at the end because it feels like it's so dumb how it always ends. When you're a player, maybe it doesn't transfer that when you're watching, but when you're a player, it feels so dumb.
And I think there's less of an importance on skill with the play when you do something like this. Then you almost want personalities. You want people who are going to be fun to watch, and you can use like handicap systems to make the play on an even playing field. And there's I think it's neat. I like that a lot.
Yeah, you could just do stuff like you could just simply do stuff like leading into the disc golf. You could do stuff of where it could be trivia about something, and if you get the trivia right, you get to use your full bag. If you get the trivia wrong, you only get to use 1 disc. Like there's a lot of ways that you can kind of change stuff.
Yeah.
But I just think this way, changing it up makes it to where you can't just stick with the same 2 or 3 people till the end. There's going to be different ways where you have to backstab people. And then it also makes it to where the challenges, no longer are you ever saying, we need to vote this guy out because he sucked. Right?
Exactly.
Because him sucking hurts his game, doesn't hurt your game.
Exactly. It hurts their ability to get information, all that stuff. It's like, no, we want to vote this guy out because he high-fived 3 people in 10 minutes, and we don't know what that's all about.
And there's no one actually that's ever trying to like not do their best. So like when someone doesn't do well, you're not like, oh, I think they're the imposter, because the imposter is always trying to win the challenges to get the information for themselves.
Exactly.
Versus the opposite.
And you don't necessarily tie every single person's success to the team's success. So it's like, oh, we're going to vote this guy out because he can't help us win this challenge.
Some challenges are individual.
Yeah.
Some challenge, the teams change too. Like sometimes it's a 3-3-3. Sometimes it's 4-4. Yeah. So I don't know.
I like it.
Very, very excited. We'll see what they come up with. Anything else? Oh, we got to make our picks.
Pick them. We got to pick them.
All right. Let's end it with picks.
For those who are hanging out with us, we got to pick them.
My gosh. Let me get these picks. Okay. Don't pick Owen Scoggins like that person today on debate night.
That's
all right. Okay, let's go FPO first. Who did they pick?
I'm pulling that up right now. They picked Evelina, Ella, and Cynthia Klesberga.
Okay, Evelina, Ella, and who?
Cynthia Klesberga.
Oh, yeah, good pick. Okay. Okay. Evelina, Ella. So they went with the 2. I don't love. So here's my thought. I don't think Ella technically, I think Evelina is probably gonna get a top 10. I don't think Ella on this course is like a guaranteed top 10 situation.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I don't I don't really foresee two people in the $4 tier. I don't feel 100% about two people being in the top
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, if Evelina's off the board, then yeah, I'm leaning in the 7-2-1.
I think we have to go 7-2-1.
Yeah, I think it's got to be like a Silva, maybe.
I like Silva. I think we go Silva for sure. And then the $2, Sten.
I say my gut is either Anakin or
I like Sten probably out of everyone there.
yeah, she's the best one there.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll go Sten and then rest of the field.
Sneaky dollar.
Is Heidi in there? Or Ida?
I was gonna say Ida Letamaki is not on.
I don't see her on there.
Not on that graph, so we might be able to grab her.
Snag her. I think we snag her.
I think she got third last year. Or no, wait, no, that was that's a different event. Yeah, I think she's a good snag there.
I'm not too worried about how they did today, Kenny. I know you're saying Silva did terrible today. I'm not too worried about it. I think Silva on average is going to perform better than pretty much everyone outside of maybe Holland. But I don't know. I feel like Silva's going to do something.
Yeah, Silva, Anakin, and Ida might be a
okay. Let's run that
trio.
Let's run that. Okay, MPO. Who did they pick?
They chose Gannon, Ezra Robinson, and Luke Taylor. Man, they're getting all their Ezra Robinson picks out the way.
Okay, Ezra Robinson, Luke Taylor, and Gannon. Okay, so obviously we're gonna go two 4s and a 2.
Oh, Calvin and Nicholas seems like because you got Calvin who won it last year, and Nicholas is pretty. I mean, Isaac's good too, though. Isaac Nicholas is a pretty good.
Is Kyle Klein there? He is there. Okay. Yeah. I think you have to go Calvin.
Yep.
I think you have to go Calvin. Gosh, the problem is I don't know this course. I don't know how they made it difficult. Did they make it difficult by adding a bunch of OB? Did they make it difficult by hitting a bunch of gaps?
They brought in some OB. They extended some hole distances. They brought in a couple like islands, and so it's all low. It's still low ceiling, placement shot, placement landing. It's a little bit of everything.
I think we might go AB here.
AB's looking good out there so far. So yeah, lots of OB and tighter.
But if he's just able to throw his putters around and just stay in bounds.
I'm so scared of AB's inconsistency recently. But
I agree, but is this the one that pops off?
Could be. I believe in the kid. So
let's just take a flyer on AB.
Yeah. We'll go Calvin AB and
then do we go crazy and go Eagle here?
That or Sully. Sully got the President's Cup snub. He dropped down to tier 3, so this is a good time to grab a tier 2 talent.
Top 10 Sully at a major. Run it. Run it.
Here we go.
Run it. Shay says Ricky ends the drought. Screenshot that, Mike. I love that.
Nope. Sorry.
Is it just me, or do the disc golf pros who cash in and get millions decide to stop playing? Seems the top male and female are MIA this year.
Do you think Kristen is a in just disc golf alone $1 million a year?
I don't know, but I will say this. I saw a tweet today that I thought was kind of interesting. They said you're 32, 34 years old. You've got $2.5 million in retirement, like invested. You go into your job, your boss says, "Hey, we're going to need you to start working a lot harder around here." That versus the other person who's the same age, but they only have $12,000 saved up. They go into that job. Their boss says, "Hey, we're going to need you to work a lot harder around here." I think how those two people respond to that situation is very different.
Yep.
And I think it's very similar in disc golf, of where if you have a lot of money and you don't need to make any more money, when things get rough or tough or difficult, it's a lot harder to continue pushing forward.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that's what Paul and Kristen are doing, but one retires, one goes to prison. I'm not saying that's what they're necessarily doing, because I think it's a little bit different when you absolutely love what you're doing. But I will
Yeah.
say you make different decisions when financially you're set
Oh yeah.
than
Oh,
what you would
100%.
do when you're not financially set. Right. So
1,000,000%. The decisions I'm going to make when this house sells, oh, they're going to be so flippant.
oh my gosh, Gary, please invest that. Please invest that money.
No, listen, I worked in finance. My wife was an accountant. We take care of money.
We're gonna be switching to renting for the first time in,
yep.
gosh, when was the last time I rented?
That's what we're doing. We
20 God, I'm trying to think of the last time I rented. 2013, maybe.
there you go.
I think I bought my first house in 2014, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
we're going the rent route.
So are we. We kind of want the mobility in like 3 or 4 years to be able to make a decision of where we want to move, because my wife wants
Yes.
warmer climates. So we're gonna rent. We found a place that is more space than what we have now, safer for our son, puts me closer to work, all that kind of stuff.
Heck yeah.
And it's like, well, we'll chill out there for a few years. So
Yeah, and it's nice too. I mean, there's pros and cons to everything, but it definitely makes it nice to where you know. Oh, see, like here's Kenny Nash. He says, "No, don't rent. Invest in your own place. Renting, you're just paying someone else's mortgage." All right,
if
Kenny, let me break it down for you real quick. So this is my thought process, Kenny. This is my thought process. Okay. Once you factor in, because I think there are pros and cons to everything. The problem is right now, we don't necessarily have the pros that you get with home ownership aren't things that we're really interested in right now. They don't really matter. So the pros in renting are a lot more attractive to us. First
Mhm.
one is we're not paying property tax. We're not paying if something breaks, if the AC breaks, which
Oh yeah.
here I think we've probably spent in the last year or two, I think we spent $25,000 on repairs to our AC unit.
Mhm.
Um, so we're not having to pay any of those major things. All the money that we would be necessarily paying for rent, or sorry, paying for our mortgage, the difference now by having rent and having a much cheaper housing payment, we can now invest that money. And the money that our investments make pretty much go completely against what you would make in the sale of your house. Also, when me and Kelsey are like, you know what? We don't actually really like this place. This place
Mhm.
kind of sucks. We don't have to try to sell a house.
Yeah.
We don't know where, like Gary's point, renting is so good for people that do not know where they're going to live. If you aren't saying I'm going to live in this house for 7 years, you probably shouldn't buy a house. You should rent. So
Yeah.
we're going to rent. We're going to try to figure out where we want to live. And then if we're like, "Hey, we like this place a lot," then we will buy a house. Then we'll find a house that we want. We'll buy a house and we're Gucci gang there. But I think renting, I don't know. I think a lot of people, um,
It depends on the property, though, Kenny Nash. Like a good example is my house here. While this house served a lot of purposes for us, we are probably a year away from having to do a major electrical job. That's we're not ready for that. Plus, it's not the safest house for a kiddo. It's a cool house. It's really on the nose for our area. So I'd rather get out. But if it was like if I was in a house that like suited our needs, had the space requirements, like yeah, I would definitely spend more time investing in the property that I have. But also the market around here right now is on fire for sale. So
yeah, and Kenny's right. You know, the richest people are in real estate. Yeah, you're 100% right. Most people out there that have very big net worths have a lot of real estate. But let me tell you something, Kenny. When you have a lot of real estate, because we just went from having 2 houses to now we only have 1 house. We sold our Florida house, gone. Now we only have 1 house here in Texas. The amount of stress that has just been removed from just removing that 1 house, it's so nice. So my thought is this. Okay, could I put $1 million in real estate and make, let's say, 15% off of that? Maybe, sure. But would I rather put $1 million in the stock market and just make 10% and not have to worry about anything? Like that, to me, the difference right now between making $50,000 and $100,000, if the $100,000 is going to bring added stress, it's going to make me have to think about things. It's going to random stuff's going to happen where someone's going to call me and be like, you have a leak. I would much rather just go with the 50 with no worry. So that's the other thing that you have to take into account is, Gary, you know what they say? More money, more problems. That's
true.
That's what they say. More money, more problems. So
true.
If you're fine with where you're at, you're basically trying to simplify your life. I am someone that is never, I've never been after the money all that much. So it's a very nice thing because when you get to a point where you have enough money, guess what? You have enough money. You can just chill. Where if you are all about the money, guess what? $5 million isn't enough. You want 10, then you get 10 million. That's not enough. You want 20. And guess what? You never really enjoy your life because you're always chasing the next thing.
The happiest man is happy with what he has.
Yep.
I heard a really interesting thing today. It was if you were to take everyone,
money don't make money. I love that.
There you go. If you took everyone's problems that they had in the world and you put them into a bag, would you really reach in to exchange yours?
Whoa. Say that one more freaking time, Gary.
Yeah. So we all have problems. If everyone in the world took their problems and put them on a piece of paper and put them into a bag and you had a chance to reach in and exchange, would you? The answer is probably no.
Because you're scared of the unknown.
Well, also you realize that your problem is nowhere near as problematic as what a lot of other people deal with. So
okay, but what if you? Okay, wait. Are you changing your problems with someone else's problems?
Yeah. You're taking on somebody else. Yeah, you're trading your problem for somebody else's problem.
Okay, so this would only make sense if it's like I'm a drug addict and I live on the on the street. That person's putting his hand in there.
Exactly. But like if you're
saying the majority of people, you're not going to risk your problems for having potentially really, really bad problems.
Yeah, exactly. So it just puts you in perspective what your problem is. Not that your problem's not a bad thing and that people shouldn't have to if they're in tough spots, but most of the time there are people out there with plenty of worse problems than your own.
Oh no, I can think of a lot of things that I would not like to pull out of there.
Absolutely.
A lot of things.
So you just gotta stay positive. Smile.
Like, wasn't there a person that couldn't walk? Wait, what was it? They couldn't walk, but like if they tried to walk, their body would just like shut down, but they could run fine. I don't know if that was actually, I think that might have been a scam. I think they got on like 2020. They got on like one of those big, do you know what I'm talking about?
Nope, I don't.
They're walking and they're just like this, and like they were trying to talk. They're like, but then they start jogging. They're like, yeah. So like yesterday,
Yeah. It's like,
I
got
think
you.
I think it might have been a scam.
They're like a shark. If their circulation slows down too much, they'll die.
Yeah,
Sharks have to keep swimming.
Man, that's a great perspective, Gary. That's why you're on this podcast, man.
We try.
There. That was not Helen Keller, no. But
yep.
All right. Well, we were all over the place tonight. Gary crushed it by holding you guys, giving you guys entertainment while I was getting back. But I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
We'll have we'll have some guests on after the European Open. I'm glad it's called the European Open. I'll say that.
Yep.
Instead of whatever the heck they were going to call it. And what is it?
Festival of Flight.
We're only like 40. We're 40 set. No, wait, hold on. No, 48 plus. We're 51 hours away from the first tee time.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were saying 51 days away from Worlds.
What people keep talking about this Macbeth interview. What's this Macbeth interview, Gary?
Oh, Macbeth.
I know you probably listened to it.
Macbeth, he was interviewed on All Birdies, No Bogeys, and he kind of talked about like what the current situation is and why he's been out and all the things he's dealing with.
Okay, Gap. Was there anything that you want us to expand on that? Because he said, "Surprise, no talk about Macbeth interview."
We talked about it a bit earlier when you were off. I talked a bit about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If there was anything, if there's anything that he said that you want us to talk about, let me know. But if he's just talking about,
it was
he's not
the commentary. The commentary that I got out of it was everyone's real. Like just because at one point in time, like if Paul Macbeth, even the players at the top of our sport or any sport, they are real people who deal with real issues. And we have to be reminded of that sometimes. And we talked a little bit about, do we in disc golf put too much pressure on the people at the top of our sport to do a lot of things? Like we see with Kristen and the stuff that she dealt with. Like, are we putting too much pressure on the people?
Here's the thing. More money, more problems, Gary. More money, more problems. If you, it's one of those things of where it's like, I want to be famous. I want people to know who I am. I want to make a lot of money. And like you can have all those things, but guess what?
Yeah.
When you go out to dinner, people are going to come up to you and want to take a picture. Those are all things that come with it. You don't get to pick and choose what you want and what you don't want. So if you are going to get paid $1 million a year, guess what? Things are going to come from that.
Yeah.
People are going to expect things. So I don't know really what that was in response to. I think that was just in response to you saying, are we holding these the best people too high? And it's like,
with that spot comes pressure.
Exactly. I don't think we are.
Yeah.
I don't think we are.
Most of his interview kind of sounded a lot like Kristen's interview at Worlds, where he talked about how he's been dealing a lot of things have going on in his life, but he's been experiencing anxiety at levels that he never experienced before. Because he used to always believe in the whole like, well, if you're anxious, just like deal with it, whatever. But now he's starting to like deal with. He's experienced like some panic attacks and stuff like that related to anxiety. And it was a very, I'll say this, regardless of how anyone feels about the situation, it was a very candid interview and not one that we get very often in whatever. So,
I mean, I thought the biggest issue that Paul was going to have to go through, and this was even before the whole situation with what he did with me and my family. But I thought the biggest issue that he was going to go through was him not realizing that the situation that he's in is different. And I think that, and what I mean by that, and I'll kind of explain it through my lens, is when I was playing Ultimate Frisbee, every single game I played, I believed in my deepest soul that I was the best player on the field. I believed that there was nothing the other team could do to stop me from doing what I wanted to do. And I believe that if I played well, my team was going to win. That is what I believed. Now, had Ultimate Frisbee all of a sudden gone through a popularity where more people were playing it, more money was coming in, and now all of a sudden we're getting actual athletes that could have played football, basketball, these other sports, and now all of a sudden they're starting to play Ultimate, my belief would have changed. I no longer would have believed I was the best player on the field. My belief would have changed to, I hope I just make a team.
Yeah.
That didn't happen with Paul. Like Paul literally, I remember him telling Trevor, I was there in the office and Trevor was saying something, and Paul literally told Trevor he wasn't going to finish outside the top 3 the entire season. Well, I think that lasted like 2 tournaments.
Yeah.
Like that was the biggest thing is Paul had this thing of I'm the best. I'm better than everyone else, and didn't realize that he won a lot because the field was so small. He wasn't having to play against a bunch of people. So he could go out and play bad and win. You cannot go out and play bad and win anymore. The landscape has completely changed. And I think that's probably one of the things of like,
yeah,
he's probably having to go through. It's not a bad thing to all of a sudden to say, I used to be the king of the hill. I used to be the man. Now there's like 5 or 6 other people that are also up on this hill.
Yep.
And now we're all having to try and compete. Like there's nothing wrong with saying that, but if you always try to put yourself as the best and you just think that you're better than everyone no matter what, that's when like you start losing. It starts getting really, really challenging.
Yep.
You see it a lot. You see a lot in fighting too. You know, fighters lose for the very first time, and some can bounce back, and some some don't.
Which puts in perspective how impressive what Gannon does is.
Yeah, and Gap says I don't think Gannon could touch Paul back in 2015. Hate to break it to you, brother.
Incorrect.
I think Gannon beats Paul quite a bit.
But hey, I told everyone to check out Debate Night tomorrow because we talk a little bit about eras and we talk about like if Gannon was back in Kenny's day and Kenny was in Gannon's day.
There has never been a better disc golfer than Gannon Buhr.
Never. He's the best.
If you literally watch him, his worst performance, like when he's playing bad, it's still incredibly high. If you go back and watch some of those 2015 tournaments, these guys are missing putts. These guys are throwing terrible shots. These guys are not playing well and winning.
Yeah.
Again, it's a different situation, and there's nothing wrong with that. We mentioned a little bit like the Jordan LeBron, which we kind of go into that in Debate Night, but it's the same kind of idea of like you can't say one or the other. Now, the thought is if Paul was at the age that he was back in 2015, now what does that look like? Now we have maybe a conversation, right?
Yeah. If Paul was coming into our sport now at his prime age back then, and he had a chance to acclimate, that would be a battle we'd all love to see.
Correct. And what we have seen this, the easiest way of seeing this is in sports that have like world records where like things are set. Like the easiest way of seeing this is like the mile, right?
Yeah.
No one could break the 4-minute mile. And then as soon as one person broke the 4-minute mile, all of a sudden tons of people start breaking the 4-minute mile.
Yeah.
Right. And so the idea is if you take 2015 Paul and you put him into now, and he's seeing what the competition is now, what is required now, that is a conversation of whether or not he could live up to what it was. Yep. But if you just take Gannon now and you put it back to 2015 and you play Paul back then, Gannon whoops him.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and Gannon has done something that I don't think very many players, if anyone, has done so far, and that's mastered both how you have to approach the game mentally and physically. Now he's obviously you could argue he could get stronger, he could do that or whatever. But Gannon knows, like, he's a goofball. But if you sit down and talk to Gannon, and we've seen
Oh,
glimpses of it on here,
yeah.
no one knows or understands flight and discs more than Gannon does. He is a student of the game as much as he is a practitioner.
Gap, if you think Gannon Buhr couldn't shoot 18 under on that course, you are joking yourself, brother.
Yeah, you got to remember that
these
course gap
courses,
was several par easier back then.
yeah,
Gannon
these courses that were set up were set up in a way where people that, I mean, the easiest, here's the Gap. You ready for this? Here's the easiest way of understanding this. Okay. Remove Paul from the equation. Think about how many people 5, 6, 7 years ago were top 10 players that you saw in the top 10. Where are they now? So remove Paul, because I know there's a bunch of Paul fans, whatever. Remove Paul. There are players that were in the top 10, top players. They didn't age out, guys.
Yep.
I don't think that people don't understand disc golf. There is no aging out in disc golf, right? Yeah, Ricky is still around. Yeah, which is very impressive. It shows how good Ricky Wysocki is because he is still around. And guess what? He is better now than he was back then.
Yep.
He's improved his game. He's evolved. He's adapted.
Yep.
The players that did not evolve and did not adapt, they don't exist on tour anymore. They don't.
The reason Ricky doesn't win in the same numbers as he did before or win all the majors is not because Ricky's worse. It's because there are so many more people who can win.
Sexton and Big Germ didn't age out. Sexton and Big Germ don't practice nearly as much as they used to. Guaranteed. Big Germ spends most of his time now in Jomez. I guarantee if Big Germ didn't have Jomez checks coming in, he'd probably be focusing a lot more on his disc golf. And Sexton kind of bounces in and out. Sexton's never been like a full tour guy since I've been on tour.
Yeah, he's prioritized family and like the part of the country over there than disc golf itself.
Yeah, the courses have gotten drastically harder, which basically makes the gap between, like, if me and Gary have probably a decent skill gap, right? There's a decent skill gap between me and Gary. If me and Gary went out on a pitch and putt course,
yep,
Gary would like his chances a lot more than if me and Gary went and played New London.
I literally have the same experiment going on because one of the guys I work with that we do filming together, he is 80 ratings points higher than me. He is significantly better than I am. So we talked about like what I would have to do and what courses, and there are local courses that are short enough that the amount of handicaps he has to have become almost negligible because it's a short enough course that I can compete with him. But the moment you take it to a longer course with more skill level, it is so much more amplified how much better he is than me.
Yep. And so that's, at the end of the day, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at these disc golf courses got drastically harder. Also, too, one of the reasons why I got a lot of success early on in my disc golf career is when they were trying to figure out how to actually make courses harder. A lot of times their answer was just make the holes longer, which I don't think is actually really the best way of doing it. I do like the idea of having to throw, 400-foot shots into greens versus 150-foot shots. But I think there's different ways of making it. But there were some courses we played where it was just simply, there was a bunch of people that couldn't throw far enough,
Yep.
and I was no longer competing against 100 people. I was now competing only against 40. So when I got a top 10, it wasn't a top 10 out of 100. It was a top 10 out of 40, which isn't as impressive. And so that is what is happening now, is some of these guys that were getting top 10s 5, 6, 7 years ago, they were getting top 10s against 30 people. Mm-hmm. Now you have to get a top 10 against 70 people. 80 people. And it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder. The Rock Monster, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
We love you, Rock Monster.
So distance trumps putting. At these courses, I mean, it's the whole reason. Say what you want. It's the whole reason why Paige Pierce had the dominance that she had in FPO. Go ahead, Gary.
I did a thing where I looked at every single statistic of the 2025 season, and I took the people who finished in the statistical category. So, like, if you look at the top 10 people in C1X putting percentage at an event, and you look at their finishing position, I did and I did this for every single stat. The stats that mattered the least to winning position were putting, which was kind of funny, which shows that putting is so decent at the top level that the variation wasn't very significant. If you finished in that top group, the range was super wide. It's the C1 in regulation that mattered the most. If you finished in the top 10 in C1 in regulation, you on average finished in the top 12 at that event. Whereas if you finish in the top 10 for putting, you could finish anywhere in the top 40 for the event.
Yeah,
it was wild.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact that you can't really 3-putt.
Yeah, look at Marwin. Marwin's so great.
And golf's a little bit different. I know Ron Johns just said same as ball golf. Golf is a little bit different because you could have someone that goes out there and rolls the ball really well and has 24 putts. And then you could have someone that has a terrible day on the putting green and like has 37 putts. And that's a lot of strokes difference between those two. In disc golf, I mean, what's like it's tough. You're either gonna have 1 putt or 2 putt. You're never really gonna have 3. But what I was saying about the Paige Pierce thing, it's very similar to what I was talking about with the MPO field. Is sometimes Paige Pierce would go, and again, this is not a shot at Paige Pierce. She also obviously was still one of the most talented players. The whole point of this is when she would go and play some of these tournaments that were playing on the MPO layouts. That's how the FPO used to be. They used to play on the MPO layouts and just change the pars here and there. She would go and she would no longer be competing against 20, 30 FPO players. She was like competing against like her and Kat and
Heather Young,
maybe Sarah Hokum when it was like a very forehand course and Sarah Hokum could throw like 350 feet, 300-foot forehands. But like when you go to a course and you can birdie every hole, Gary, like if we go to New London and I'm like, Gary, I can birdie every hole. And you're like, I can birdie too. That is very tough for you to ever beat me.
Exactly. But if we go to like Peaks View,
and you're like, I can birdie every hole. And I'm like, I can birdie every hole. That's a lot easier for you to beat me. So I think I think that's what it shows is like as these courses get more and more challenging, where they're requiring more and more skills and they're requiring you to be more and more consistent and decision making and all that stuff, it's really making the best players move up to the top. And it turns out there's more and more better players in MPO than there ever have been in this sport.
Yep.
I mean, I would argue that there's probably 3 or 4 guys that if you dropped back in 2015, they're probably all winning a lot of tournaments.
Yeah. Exactly.
You don't think Calvin's winning a lot in 2015?
Yep.
Right? Like Isaac's not going to be winning a lot in 2015. AB's not winning a lot in 2015.
Yep. And the number grows even wider the further back you go. You could probably drop 20 people back in Kenny's day and age, and it would be a dogfight every weekend.
And you have flashes in the pan. You have flashes in the pan where like Simon that one year won 4 times.
Braden,
right? You got people that just like all of a sudden pop off. Hannes, he's gonna win a couple. So it's one of those things where it's very hard to like gauge whatever because it's completely different. But that's why I think the argument is if Paul was just now coming up in disc golf, what would that look like? That would be interesting because he would be learning and adapting his game to all the things he needs to do, which is going to be different than what he needed back in 2015. So, all right, Gary, you got anything else for people?
I think we're good.
Okay. Oh my God. Yeah. Think about AB back when there was like no OB and Mandos. Dear God.
I tell you what, it'd be
Dear
like the
God.
Salem witchcraft trials. Like we need to get this man tested. Is he a witch?
I'll tell you this. I bet the courses would change very quickly. They would change a lot faster with AB just throwing like crazy shots where you're just like, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Oh, Ron Johns. We got to shout Ron Johns. He says, I beat Avery by 6 strokes at Glow in MA1 back in the day. Eat it, big boy. Wow.
Let's go.
Wow. There you have it.
Heck yeah.
All right. Well, this podcast was all over the place, but maybe that's why you guys tune in.
Choose your own adventure.
So we appreciate you guys listening. Thank you so much to Gary, PJ, and Mike. We might have a full crew next week, so tune in. We might have the full gang back. But enjoy this week. Gary, have a great week. PJ and Mike, have a great week. If you guys are watching the European Open, enjoy it. I will be catching the highlights. Until then, we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.